I'm fully prepared with everything I need for the Jay-Z documentary. The moment he sent that legal letter, I knew I had to let the world see who he really is. He and Diddy are cut from the same cloth. He just hides his arrogance and control behind a cleaner image. Our feud has lasted 20 years, and I know better than anyone what he's done in the shadows. I even suspect that so-called funeral bouquet wasn't Diddy's idea at all, but Jay-Z acting on his behalf. Back when Nicki Minaj posted that video of him wearing a pink wig, all I did was repost it, and he got so nervous he had his lawyers threaten me. In 2015, Nicki worked her ass off helping him build his platform, and he allegedly pocketed her $7.9 million in royalties. And then there's his fingerprints all over key incidents through the years, whether it's the elevator footage or the guest list at Diddy's parties. He was involved, clearly, but somehow he always walks away untouched. That's what he's best at, pulling strings behind the scenes while pretending to be spotless in public. And now that a corner of the darkness has been ripped open, I'm not stopping. Everything my team and I are doing isn't about attacking anyone. It's about making sure the truth can't be buried by him ever again.
If you ain't answering the phone?
He ain't answering the motherfucking phone.
Yeah, it's like this, like
We had a black billionaire's lunch.
black excellence. They're sitting there like, yeah. It's a billionaire brunch. You're like,
I hate you, man.
And we here together, and we're gonna keep staying together. We getting tighter.
unaware of anything going on here. This is the one time I'm gonna be with you this year. Yo, I feel like I'm normal again. Get me out of here.
Jay-Z is once again under a harsh spotlight as reports of alleged private exchanges with Diddy spill into public conversation, igniting a wave of online reaction. What many thought were long-settled chapters are being reopened, pulling old associations and unresolved questions back into focus. As speculation spreads, familiar narratives are resurfacing with renewed intensity, and the debate is accelerating by the hour. The pressure is mounting, the scrutiny is relentless, and the moment feels pivotal, one that could challenge Jay-Z's reputation, influence, and carefully managed legacy in ways few anticipated.
Carter aided and abetted or was directly involved. It's about to get real tense, and there's a lot of girls and boys who are still trapped.
In past interviews, 50 Cent has made it clear that he intentionally kept his distance from Diddy's inner circle, saying certain invitations and environments immediately set off red flags. That instinct, he claims, led him to draw firm boundaries early in his career. Because he never embedded himself in that world, 50 argues he can now speak openly without fear or obligation. When later allegations surfaced publicly, he maintained that he learned about them the same way everyone else did, through media reports. While he acknowledged the seriousness of the claims, he also suggested they didn't come as a shock, framing them as confirmation of why he chose to stay removed in the first place.
Jaguar Wright explained that Jay-Z is worse than Diddy. She explained how Jay-Z has done worse things than what Diddy did to Cassie to other females. And she said that she has the scars to prove it. She alleged that at one time Jay-Z attacked her and got it on film like Diddy did. And she alleged that this is why Jay-Z is totally pulling away from Diddy and you don't see him around. And it's been alleged for quite a while that Jay-Z is pulling away from Diddy because he doesn't want himself caught in the crossfire. I mean, you even have 50 Cent at this point talking about how Jay-Z is in hiding while this whole Diddy thing blows over. And you even have these accusations of Jay-Z being responsible for what happened to Cassie White. So I'm going to go ahead and roll you guys this clip of everything that Jag had to say about Jay-Z being worse than Diddy. And you guys let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
Sean Carter is just as bad as the diddler. And I know that for a fact. I got the scars to prove it. You want to know what a box cutter feels like going into your skin and ripping you? I can tell you how it feels. Y'all ain't seen shit yet. That Cassie shit, that's nothing. I'm saying Sean Carter remembers everything he did to me and he's got it on tape. Just like Diddy. And they're going to be crazy. It's going to be the women that get them in the end.
The pressure on Jay-Z grew fast and relentless, exactly as critics feared. As the investigation around Diddy expanded, all eyes began to turn toward him, and his measured silence only amplified public curiosity. Observers speculated that his team was quietly bracing for reputational fallout, trying to get ahead of the story. Even without official moves, the impact was already palpable. Social media acted like gasoline on the fire, spreading rumors, inflating assumptions, and turning uncertainty into a rapid, inescapable force that made every consequence feel immediate and unavoidable.
What Jay-Z's accuser is saying, that even though she dropped the lawsuit, she still stands by what she says, and she only dropped it because of harassment and the fact that she's terrified of Jay-Z. She says that Jay-Z is allegedly bullying her into saying that her accusations were false. In fact, in new legal documents, she is claiming that she was recently approached outside of her home and cornered by two people who told her they were investigators working for one of Jay-Z's lawyers. She claims they tried to get her to sign an affidavit stating that her art claims against Jay-Z were false, but she refused. Jane Doe also claims the alleged investigators asked her if her attorney, Tony Busby, sought her out as a client and offered her money to pursue false claims against Jay-Z, two allegations she says she denied. He says this alleged confrontation left her intimidated and terrified, wondering how they found her when her identity had remained anonymous in media reports and legal proceedings. He also claims that her parents were approached by two investigators asking similar questions about Busby and her R story. In the new documents, she reveals she decided to drop the claim because she was frightened by the reaction from Jay-Z and his supporters. He says she feared she would be publicly outed and subjected to public.
Industry insiders warned that even a single serious investigation could ripple far beyond Diddy, potentially affecting anyone perceived as closely tied to him. That's why 50 Cent's documentary carries so much weight. It's not aimed at one person, but serves as a sweeping look at the hidden power structures behind the scenes. Who held influence, who knew what, and how accountability spreads once scrutiny hits. Observers have questioned how Diddy stayed shielded for so long, pointing to a web of elite relationships and tightly controlled messaging as rumors swirled. As speculation mounted, unconfirmed reports suggested Diddy might be cooperating with authorities to protect his position, possibly sharing details about others in his circle, sending fresh waves of tension and uncertainty through the industry.
But the only thing I'm interested in him talking about is everything he knows about Kathy Coriana White. See, I know you know what happened to Corey. Diddy, I know that. You and Jay-Z down in Vegas at Tao with Claudia. Why don't you just talk about Kathy? That might help. That might help a lot. Kathy Coriana White, Jay-Z's pregnant mistress, who died 24 hours after she announced that she was going public with their relationship and the baby while he was married to Beyonce. Was it an aneurysm, Diddy? Or are you the one who paid the same coroner that you...
With the documentary now officially out, the story isn't just history, it's actively reshaping the conversation. Every new revelation zeroes in on those who stayed silent, and Jay-Z finds himself increasingly at the center. His decades-long ties to Diddy make claims of complete separation hard to sell, and tension spiked when Gene Deal publicly challenged Jay-Z's legal team, insisting their version of events didn't match what insiders had long witnessed. As timelines are revisited and perspectives collide, quiet associations are now under intense scrutiny, leaving unresolved questions that keep the pressure mounting.
Close was Diddy and Jay-Z. They was close enough that they wasn't playing basketball, they wasn't playing baseball, they wasn't playing football, and they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his ass, and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it, but I don't know what kind of half a homo that is. And you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public, can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about them. But they were so close that they had matching white girls together. Because when they used to see each other, they used to say, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? He'd be like, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? So I guess that's a certain type of closeness.
I ain't know anything about that, man. I ain't know about, Jay touching his, ass. I got to go see the video. I ain't hear about that.
Come on, man. Everybody's seen that. 50 even pointed it out. Excuse me. When they was in ATL on stage. Remember when 50 bum rushed the stage with them?
Yeah, I think I recall that.
When Puff came on stage, first thing he did was pat Jay-Z on that. But I forgot. That's your favorite rapper.
Hey, him and Pac is 1A, 1B. But what's your issue with Jay, man? I didn't know you had an issue with him.
I'm never a fan of somebody that I was going to...
To Gene, the comfort and familiarity between Jay-Z and Diddy spoke louder than words, signaling a bond he believes ran deep. One notable moment occurred at a show in Atlanta when Diddy invited Jay-Z on stage, their effortless rapport impossible for fans to miss. The clip resurfaced online after 50 Cent highlighted it, sparking debate over whether his commentary came from personal resentment. Gene dismissed that notion, explaining it wasn't about loyalty or bias. He pointed to a past clash where tensions briefly flared, only for Jay-Z to move past it, something Gene said is typical of those at the highest levels. Navigating friction yet remaining unfazed, operating in a sphere far removed from ordinary experience.
These guys are, man, they'll cause situations and cause problems, and then they'll forget what they done because they on a whole nother atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit that he did, you got to understand, like, now he'll say that they're kids because he's raising kids of his own. You understand? But how would you like it that if Blue Ivory, 15, 16 years old, 17, 18 years old, dating a nigga in his early 30s? You're not going to go for that. No matter what she came through in Hollywood. But you got to understand, guys who was around there, we didn't know Jay-Z them ages. We didn't know these cats' age. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't having no beards and nothing like that. They was wearing low cuts. You understand? Clean face. I would have never believed when Jay was coming around the block, scooping up the young girls and stuff like that he was 30 years old. If they 17, 18, 16 years old, and they 22, you thinking they 22, 23, something like that, 24 years old? They mama and them need to check them. They daddy and them need to check them. But that's not that far off. But for somebody to be 30 years old in their 30s and they dealing with kids 16 years old, 17, 18 years, now that's a problem. That's an issue. And now he see that because he's raising kids. And he got a young daughter. I think he got another daughter that he didn't claim, and now he claiming them. These cats was doing a whole lot of stuff that people in the industry won't speak on. And then now that you're speaking on it and it's becoming where is that you can get on YouTube and you could talk about this shit and say what you seen or say what you heard, you understand, or what you know. Some people look at it being a problem. But these cats ain't street cats. They entertainers.
Dame Dash, once considered Jay-Z's closest partner, recently weighed in on the serious claims surrounding him, highlighting that the most striking aspect wasn't just the allegations themselves, but the sheer intensity of the public reaction. In all his years in the industry, Dame said, he had never seen Jay-Z subjected to this level of scrutiny. Decades of influence had long made him nearly untouchable, particularly in mainstream media. But that perception is shifting. The long-standing shields of protection appear to be cracking, and Jay-Z is now facing a degree of public examination rarely applied to someone of his stature, a stark reminder that even the most powerful are not immune when the spotlight grows bright.
Odd to see him in that, getting looked at in that way by white people, like Jay does, yeah, like I hope that shit didn't happen, but I'm like, damn, they turned the world real. Like people on a certain level have been fucking with him a certain way where he couldn't do no wrong for like 25 years straight. This is the first time he's not getting a pass with white media, like he can control black media because a lot of them either work or do business with him, but Green Champs can't get him out of this one, and neither can Charlemagne. Because, those are the guys that hold him down no matter what he do anyway. So he got to get to People Magazine and Entertainment Tonight right now because they on his head. But the question is why? Like, why now? Because for me, I'd be like, yo, that's so ridiculous. Yo, take that to trial. She's not going to win. Let's get a deposition or something. So I don't know why they on his head so much. Pause. But I never seen him, under this, I never seen him in this position to have to explain himself. Pause.
How you feel about the statement he came out with?
I mean, I didn't hear him say anything. I heard a piece of, like I said, I'm doing an interview, so I talk. I thought it was long. For a statement, I thought it was long, pause. But, I think right now, his silence is the worst thing for him. If he is innocent, he needs to let people ask him questions, and he needs to be able to say his side of the story.
What struck Dame Dash most was seeing Jay-Z in an unfamiliar position, guarded, reactive, and under sustained pressure, a reality rarely witnessed outside a few isolated moments in his career. For decades, Jay-Z has largely avoided the need to publicly explain himself, making the current scrutiny especially notable. Meanwhile, questions persist about why 50 Cent seems so determined to target him, as the Diddy connection alone doesn't fully explain the tension. Tony Yayo offered deeper insight, noting that friction between 50 and Jay-Z stretches back years, fueled by rivalry and fractured loyalty. Hip-hop thrives on competition. Egos clash, disputes emerge, but growth is possible. Yayo highlighted a recent moment when 50 shared the stage with Dr. Dre and Cameron, signaling old issues being set aside. Cameron himself has remarked that Jay-Z prioritizes business over culture, a view Yayo reinforced, pointing out Jay-Z's constant presence at high-level corporate gatherings while often absent from hip-hop moments that matter deeply to artists like 50. This imbalance continues to raise questions about priorities, alignment, and where loyalty truly lies.
I don't think I would have said that he didn't know Puff at all or wasn't his friend. I thought that was a little extreme. I thought that was the wrong choice of words. I think that's going to trigger a lot of backlash. But the thing is, I never seen him get backlash at all. So that's what I'm saying. Now he getting backlash. Like, when did you know Jay-Z to be on his heels other than when he got beat up in the elevator? But that was nothing. But I've never seen him under the fire ever. Not in a long time. Not like, I've never seen people on his head like that, Paul. Ever.
Yeah, this might be my first time seeing people come at him like this.
Like I said, I didn't hear him say anything. Like, I'm not some white man speaking for another black man. Doesn't add up. It just doesn't work like that. Like, he doesn't know what to say on Jay's behalf. Jay would have to say that. So if he instructed him to say that, like, you don't even know if Jay told him to say that. He could have got off the stage and they was like, why'd you say that? He was like, I had to. You know, like, he probably said it because homeboy wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Like, I didn't hear him say anything. I haven't heard Jay say a word yet. Have you?
Nah, I haven't heard him say anything.
There it is. So y'all going by a piece of paper with words, don't get caught up in that. I have not heard him say one thing yet. You know? Until I see him speak, he hasn't spoke to me. That's why I said I don't think he did not say that. His lawyer said it. So what else is a lawyer gonna say?
Yayo highlighted a defining contrast between Jay-Z and 50 Cent: accessibility versus distance. He explained that while Jay-Z operates at the highest tiers of influence, he keeps a deliberate separation, whereas 50, despite wielding comparable power, remains visible, engaged, and loyal to those who supported his rise. Yayo stressed that true success should never erase the value of one's foundation, a principle he sees 50 living by. One incident that stuck with him involved the Super Bowl halftime show, where reports suggested Jay-Z initially resisted 50's involvement. Only after Eminem insisted he wouldn't perform without 50 was the matter resolved. To Yayo, this moment transcended logistics or branding. It felt personal, exposing long-standing tension and quiet rivalry that continue to shape the complicated dynamic between two of hip-hop's most powerful figures.
There was this one part where 50 was talking, and he was saying, yeah, when Yayo was locked up, every G-Unit show, we actually put aside the money.
Bro, I told
for him,
you.
And he had he's like, Yayo had like $1 million.
Right. I just told you, when I came out of my building, I see the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
There was no way I was getting shot there. And this is what I kind of tell you is like, when we was talking about stacks with the Porsche, 50's not going to let you say, get the Porsche. He going to say, let's get him out the hood first. You know, if the money's there, but the money has to be there for you to live like that. The money's there. 50 didn't have to do that. Rest in peace to Hervé from Interscope, because he always said to me, man, 50 do more for you than any artist, than anybody does for their artists, more than Jay-Z.
Over time, reports indicate that the once solid connection between Jay-Z and Diddy began to show cracks, with insiders noting rising trust concerns and uncertainty about loyalties if circumstances turned unfavorable. As pressure mounted, speculation arose about behind-the-scenes maneuvering, including public claims from Jaguar Wright alleging Jay-Z played a role in Diddy's downturn, assertions that remain unproven and hotly debated. Regardless of their validity, the situation underscores how quickly relationships can shift at the highest levels of influence, where alliances are often conditional, loyalty is fragile, and power dynamics can change without warning.
He said that Jay-Z loves money more than hip-hop, and he pointed out that Jay-Z performed at Tom Brady's Hall of Fame ceremony, but he didn't perform in any Hip-Hop 50 events.
I mean, Jay-Z's on a whole nother level. Like, I mean, you know, he's like, but you know what I like about 50? 50's on a whole nother level, but he's still approachable. You still get to meet the people and you know, Jay got to remember the people that made him. You know, I'm not saying I don't got respect. I respect Jay-Z, 50, used to respect, you know, Diddy, but all that crazy shit going on. But, you know, I always respected him because I looked at, for New York, those were like the guys. You know what I'm saying? The guys with the most money and the most influence. So with Jay is like, when the last time you haven't seen Jay, so I think people are just gonna say that. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I mean, Jay, you know, you gotta remember, he didn't want 50 at the Super Bowl. That was crazy. I'm like,
wait, Jay didn't want 50 at the Super Bowl?
You know that? Yeah, he didn't want.
I remember Eminem pushed for it.
That was some hater shit. Yeah,
I remember Eminem was like, I'm not gonna do it unless 50 does it. I heard that.
Yeah,
but I didn't know that Jay was trying to stop it.
I don't think Jay. I don't know. 50 never told me that, but I don't think Jay wanted him there. I don't know.
Because of what, some of the.
I mean, you know, it's competition. You got to think. 50 always been competition for Jay. Remember, I'm about $1. What the fuck is 50 Cent?
That was a long time ago.
That was what, 9? What was that? 9?
But after that, they did a song together. Remember the whole,
of course, but 50 was always competition for niggas. Then remember Jay said, yo, 50's coming. He told Siegel and them, and Memphis Bleak and all them.
Yeah.
And come on, 50's like, he's on a whole nother level. You got to remember, he came after niggas. He came after Jay and Rockefeller. G-Unit came. And people might shit on G-Unit, but with Eminem, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, nobody has out.
Roger Bonds, Diddy's former head of security, offered an insider perspective that added another layer to the story. He noted that while he frequently observed Jay-Z and Diddy crossing paths and interacting, he never saw their relationship as genuinely close. From his vantage point, Diddy seemed to believe the bond ran deeper than it actually did, highlighting a disconnect between perception and reality. It's a clear example of how, at the highest levels, public appearances and assumed alliances can create illusions that don't always reflect the true dynamics behind the scenes.
He says to people, he goes into boardrooms and says to people, which I will never say, is he says, it's important for me to be a billionaire, because Black people need to be billionaires. And why does specifically he, at that time, I've had this conversation with white money people when they go, it's important that Jay-Z becomes a billionaire. And I go, why? And they said, because he wants to open up a casino. He wants to open up this. He should have an alcoholic brand. He needs to have a casino. He needs to have this. And you're like, why the fuck does anybody need a casino? Like another fucking casino
money
in this world.
And it makes it very possible for people to launder money all day.
Yeah. So like, why, even the fact that you want to become so powerful, then you're not saying because he needs to build schools for Black people in Black neighborhoods. It's because he wanted to build casinos for Black people.
For them to keep wasting their money, and then for him to keep giving them overpriced merchandise. It's a rat trap.
Yeah.
All of it is. The sad part is that hip hop has now turned itself over to this greed machine and doesn't realize it's time to.
Those within Diddy's inner circle frequently observed that he consistently went out of his way to support Jay-Z, providing visible backing that in their eyes was rarely reciprocated. This recurring pattern revealed a clear imbalance in their dynamic, showing how loyalty at the highest echelons can sometimes be one-sided. It underscored a behind-the-scenes reality that sharply contrasted with the polished, harmonious image presented to the public.
Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
Yeah, shout out D. Haven. He actually hit us up, wanted to tell this story.
You need to talk to D. Haven.
Yeah, we need to talk to him.
I told you that last year when I put you on the phone.